Game 1, 1-1 draw. Game 2, 3-2 win. Game 3 for Ruben Amorim is against Everton in the Premier League, and a different type of challenge from the previous two games, you would have to say. And one that he has to get right. We know that the league is the bread and butter for Manchester United, and it's where the fans and the manager want to succeed the most. Plenty to talk about. Let's get through our predicted 11s. Let's get through our score predictions also, and a little bit on the opposition. Smash a like on the video, hit subscribe if you're new. Let's jump straight into it. Manchester United go into this game 12th in the Premier League, and look, as good as it is to get results in Europe midweek, and I thought there was a lot of positives to take from the game, the league is where we want, to start improving as quickly as possible. And a good opportunity here at home against Everton in the Premier League to get 3 points on the board and to start moving up that table. We said there's not an awful lot in terms of the distance between where we are to where we want to be. Top 4 really is the priority. We have to start closing the gap as quickly as possible. We're coming into the busy period of the Premier League over the Christmas. We've got to start putting points on the board. I do think there are going to be changes as well. There were some areas of the game midweek that I think Ruben Amorim will want to improve on, and I think we're going to see some changes to personnel as well. The team that you see on the screen, guys, is the way we started midweek against Bodo Glimt in the Europa League, and I do think there are going to be changes again. Now look, obviously we will go through them front or back to front. Obviously Andre Onana in the goal has been playing absolutely fantastic. He's up there with one of our best players so far this season, without a shadow of a doubt. He 100% keeps his place. The back three, now again, look, we've seen Martinez is the main player that we're going to kind of focus on here. He is coming back from an injury, and he was substituted for Luke Shaw midweek as well. So I do think we're probably going to see a bit of change to the back four. Does he stick with Martinez? I wouldn't be surprised if he does, to be quite honest with you. However, we do also know that Luke Shaw has made two substitution appearances so far in the last 2 games under Ruben Amorim. Does he now maybe give him a start? I don't think it's outside the realms of possibility. Luke Shaw does need to get some minutes into his legs. Absolutely he does. Another area that we're looking at here is, and especially on that left-hand side, is Malacia. Now look, Malacia still, working off the cobwebs. First game in 550 days for Manchester United on Thursday night. Does he drop out and maybe Luke Shaw playing that left-sided role? I think it might be a little bit too early for Luke Shaw to play on a wing-back role, in a wing-back position, getting up and down. It requires a lot of energy, and when you're trying to nurse Luke Shaw back to full fitness on the back of a sustained period of time out, I think that left-back or the left wing-back role for him is probably a few weeks away yet. I think it's more than likely that Luke Shaw will play in that left centre-back role if Lisandro Martinez is to drop out. What would I prefer? To be honest with you, I would prefer if Martinez keeps his place. We know that he is going to be a very important player for us between now and the end of the season, and he's the future of that left centre-back role. There's a lot of talk about Luke Shaw being moved on in the summer because of his injury concerns. So for that reason alone, I think I would play Martinez and look to get him back to full fitness more so than Luke Shaw at this current moment in time. De Ligt at centre-back looks to be the linchpin there at the moment, and I think that probably will remain. And look, there has been talks of Lenny Yoro coming back into the side. There's no real reports that he's going to be available for the game on the weekend. If that was the case, then it would free Mazraoui up to maybe play on that left wing-back role over here, or maybe on the right. It remains to be seen. However, I don't think we're going to see Lenny Yoro start when he wasn't even on the bench midweek. So I think the back three is probably going to remain the same, in my opinion. Talking about midfield then, guys, going into the number 6 role, the 2 number 6 roles, obviously Ugarte and Bruno Fernandes played in them positions midweek. So I mean, look, I think Ugarte, I mentioned it in the analysis video yesterday, that Ugarte is going to be number 1 on the team sheet, in my opinion, over the Christmas period and on for the remainder of the season. We know the relationship that he has with Ruben Amorim, and I thought he was fantastic against Bodo Glimt midweek. The energy levels that he gives, are absolutely fantastic. And going forward as well, I thought he played really well. Obviously, he had an assist for Rasmus Hojlund's goal as well. I would like to see Bruno maybe be moved up further. And the reason I say that is because Manuel Ugarte had a lot of ground to cover midweek, because we know Bruno Fernandes likes to get forward. He likes to advance up the field, get involved, especially on this left-hand side. We've seen his heat map midweek was in this area is where he spent the majority of his time. And when you're playing in the number 6 role, it meant Ugarte had an awful lot of ground to cover. So for that reason alone, I would like to see Casemiro come in beside him. This would be my way of doing it. We've seen Casemiro and Ugarte play really well together under Ruud van Nistelrooy for that 4 games. I think they played with each other for each of them 4 games, and they played really well. And I think they complemented each other's games an awful lot. So I think that is a possibility that Casemiro comes in. However, there is, and I haven't got his graphic up on the screen. I can put it up here now for us, but there is the possibility. What number is Kobbie Mainoo? 37? There is the possibility that Mainoo comes into this team. Mainoo hasn't featured yet under Ruben Amorim. And we know that he is coming back from injury as well, and he's a young player, and we do have to, take care of him. We really do have to take care of him. However, I do think going forward, he's probably the future of that second number 6 role alongside Manuel Ugarte. Manuel Ugarte is very good at, breaking down the opposition play and, stopping at, counter-attacks and so on and so forth. Whereas Mainoo is that deep-lying playmaker that can come, receive the ball off the back 4, progress it up the field. I think that is going to be his role in the future. And look, we know there are going to be times where we can push him up into one of the number 10 roles, where he can play more advanced up the field, and the advantage of having him here. But I think Kobbie Mainoo, playing in that role, receiving the ball off the back 4, allows Bruno to get more advanced where he likes to be as well, to create. I think Kobbie Mainoo is going to be ideal for that role. However, like I said, does Kobbie Mainoo start when he didn't get any minutes yet? I don't think so. I would like to see Casemiro. So that would be my 2 number 6s, Casemiro and Ugarte. Talking about wing backs then, guys, this is an area that has maybe not divided, but there's been a lot of talk about who should be playing in these roles. Now, look, we've seen Malacia and Anthony play there midweek, and for Anthony specifically, I thought it was an opportunity missed for him, to be honest with you, because we know, and we've spoken about it, that Anthony is not going to get into one of the number 10 positions. He's not going to get into one of the number 6 positions, so it leaves him with the wing back position really for, and I thought it was an opportunity missed. I don't think he done an awful lot midweek. I thought he didn't do anything bad, but he didn't do anything good either. There was a number of times when he got into these positions, and Mason Mount made a couple of really good third man runs where he actually got into the box and was free, and Anthony never played him. Anthony comes back around onto his left foot and looks to get a cross into the box, where Mason Mount was making these third man runs in through the defenders and making some really smart runs, and Anthony never picked him out. So for that reason, I think we are going to probably see Anthony drop back to the bench and Ahmad come back into that role. We've seen Ahmad do really well there in a couple of games, and he does give you that bit of the bit of excitement. He gets you off the edge of your seat. He looks a threat, and he's got some end product to his game as well. So I do think we'll see Ahmad there. On the left-hand side, I think it's probably going to be Malacia back out. Like we said, he's coming back to full fitness. He's getting minutes into his legs. He's shaking off the cobwebs. I think we're going to see probably Delors come back into that left side. And we did see him come on midweek, and, when he came on, he was dropping into that. When we had Bruno playing in the 6, but we had Garnacho here. But when Delors came on, when we were on the ball, Garnacho pushed wide. Delors pushed into that number 10 role, and it allowed Garnacho to one-on-one his fullback, which worked very well. And then when we lost the ball, Delors dropped back into a back 4. Garnacho filled back in, and we got compact. I think we're going to see Delors come back in. So I do think that's going to be our 2 wing backs. I think Delors and Ahmad will come back into them 2 positions. In the number 10 role then, guys, Mason Mount, I think, has been playing very well in the couple of appearances that he played under Ruben Amorim. We know how good Mount is thought of by Ruben Amorim. He says he loves the kid, and Mount fits into this system really, really well. It's the system he played under Thomas Tuchel at Chelsea, where he won the European Cup and he got Chelsea Player of the Year. So I think Mount stays in, if I'm being honest with you. I do think Mount will stay in. He had the lovely little flick ball into Ugarte, who then squared it for Hojlund for the third goal midweek. I think he keeps his place, to be honest with you. Garnacho, I think Garnacho will probably drop out for this game, if I'm being honest. And not because he's been playing bad. I think he's had a couple of decent performances. I think we're going to see rotation. And again, he's a young player. His minutes need to be managed quite well. And I think it's quite an easy fit then for Bruno to come back into that second number 10 role, because we've seen Casemiro come in as a number 6. So I do think we're going to see both of these players play together. I think it will give us a lot of possession against the likes of an Everton, who we'll get into in a moment. But I do think possession will dominate this game for Manchester United. And the two creative players in Mount and Bruno, I think will give us quite a good advantage against them. And the forward line then, guys, obviously the number 9, Rasmus Hojlund played, scored 2 goals, got an assist. Absolutely fantastic. Does he rotate again and maybe bring back in Rashford into that number 9 role? He said after the Ipswich game that, obviously it's not Rashford's strongest position. I don't think Rashford will come back in, if I'm being 100% honest. I honestly don't. Now, we also have, and I don't have the graphic up here, Joshua Zirkzee. I can't see him coming back in. What has he done to justify a place in this team? I think he's going to stick with Hojlund. I think when we're talking about a player in Rasmus Hojlund who you want to build confidence and you want him to go on and get goals, when he scores 2 goals midweek and gets an assist, you don't drop him. You try and keep his confidence. You try and build on it. And Everton is a good opportunity for him to go on and maybe get another few goals. So I would go with Hojlund. So that's my predicted 11, guys. Onana, Mazraoui, De Ligt, Martinez, Dalot and Ahmad as wing backs, Casemiro, Ugarte, Bruno, Mount, and then Hojlund up front. Let me know your predicted 11 in the comment section below, or let me know what you would change. But I do think absolutely that is more than enough to go out and get a result at home against Everton on Sunday. Now, let's talk a little bit about Everton. Now, look, I mean, it's a good opportunity for United, like I said, to build a little bit of momentum on the back of a win midweek. Everton are not doing that great in the Premier League at the moment. As we can see here on the right-hand side, they've only got 1 win out of the last 5 games, okay? And they're not a high-scoring team. They're quite a low-scoring team in the Premier League this year. And they're actually one of only 3 teams in the Premier League that have less goals than Manchester United so far this season, which, is a good thing going into this game, but it's a bad stat for Manchester United to be the 4th lowest in the Premier League in terms of goals scored. So I think it's a good opportunity for United to go out and get a good positive result. However, with Everton, we know, and a Sean Dyche team, they're going to be hard to break down. They're going to be dogged. They're going to be resilient. And I think in attack, the opportunities that they will be looking for will be set pieces more than anything else. They're a strong physical team, and they'll be playing for corners, they'll be playing for free kicks, so on and so forth. And it's something that United need to be alert to. When we talk about the game itself and maybe what the lineups might look like, again, they've got a couple of players that you would think and you would expect to cause a little bit of trouble. Obviously, they've Calvert-Lewin is the main player that you would talk about, and they sold some players during the season or during the summer, and the one thing that sticks in my mind with Everton is that United never seem to get an easy game against them, but they've got some good players. Like I said, Calvert-Lewin is there. Dwight McNeil is a decent player as well. Jared Brantwaite has come back from injury to play on that left side of centre-back as well. He's going to be looking to impress, given the connections that United have with him in the transfer window gone and potentially in the next transfer window coming up in January and in the summer. So not to be taken for granted by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think Man United should have more than enough to get the job done. If we're talking about a score prediction, guys, like I said, both teams are in the bottom 4 for goals scored in the Premier League this season. However, Does that mean it's going to be a low-scoring game? I don't think so, to be honest with you. You know, obviously we only scored 1 goal against Ipswich last week. We scored 3 midweek against Bodo Glimt. And you would hope that the emphasis around what Ruben Amorim is doing over the course of the few days, hopefully that he has training with him between the Europa League game and this game, is finishing. Let's get some more goals. Let's try and get that goal difference up in the Premier League. I'm going to go with a 3-1 win to Manchester United. I think we can get goals. I think if you play Rasmus Hojlund and play that starting 11 that we've got on the screen, I think there's goals in that team. I really do. And like I said, I think we're adjusting to his Ruben Amorim's tactics and formation a lot quicker than I thought we would. The difference between the Ipswich game and the Europa League game midweek was night and day. It looked a lot more assured. So if we can carry that into this Everton game, I think there are goals there for us. Clean sheet, we haven't kept one under Ruben Amorim yet. I would love to see one. Will we? I'm not quite sure. I still think the knowledge and the foundation of that formation and the information that Amorim is trying to get into these players' heads is not 100% there yet. So I think for that reason we may concede. 3-1. I'm going to go Rasmus Hojlund to score again and Bruno to get 2. Let me know your score predictions in the comment section below, guys. Let me know your goal scorers as well. Please do smash a like on the video if I haven't done so already. Hit subscribe if you're new to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.